so far, during Keir Starmer's time as Prime Minister, 23,630 migrants have arrived in the UK. And let's not forget, are costing billions and billions of pounds to house in hotels. It would appear that nothing has really changed. Alp, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
Thank you very much. Long time no speak. Hope you're well.
I am well.
Excellent.
I know that you are.
No, nothing much has changed, has it, since the last time we spoke? Keir Starmer's been in for 6 months. We've had Yvette Cooper saying that they're going to stop the boats. They've arrested one bloke from the Kurdish lands in Turkey, who's apparently responsible for bringing loads of people here. They had the Iraqi Prime Minister here yesterday, talking to him about possibly returning people. What's going on?
To be honest, Mike, I remember probably a year ago talking to you and saying that a lot more were going to come and that a lot more will get into trouble, more will die. That's exactly what happened. Guess what? The same thing's going to happen this year, because so far what the government has done and said, not only won't it do anything to change the numbers coming in, if anything, it's made it worse. Excuse me, I was at the Leyton Orient match last night where we thrashed Derby. So my throat has gone.
No worries. It's obviously it's a good reason to have a bad throat. Yeah, I mean, it seems to me that whatever the Labour government think they're going to do, they're not really doing, because all of those 388 people that have come into this country just this year so far, and it's only, you know, January the 15th, are all being put up in hotels, are all being given allowances, are all being given food, are all being given, you know, free heating and all the rest of it. It's costing the country an awful lot of money. And so it's no different from what it was like under the Tories. In fact, it's probably worse.
Well, it is worse because they've got rid of the only potential deterrent. There is nothing to deter people from coming until the message goes out that if you come here illegally, then you're not going to stay. I'm afraid they're going to keep coming, and there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions, frankly, around the world who would give their eye teeth to come to this country and be welcomed in the way that you just described. We've had 150,000, 151,000 since this all started in 2018. They're the ones that we know about.
Yeah.
There's probably at least another 50 to 100,000 that we don't know about. Add to that those who are here illegally already. What we're doing is simply adding to the illegal population of this country, and nothing that the government has done will change that.
No.
Until they detain, deal quickly, and remove, then I'm afraid they will keep coming. And that just isn't going to happen.
Right. And also, as Europe becomes tougher in migration, lots of countries now in Europe are performing better than we are in terms of sending people back and not allowing people to settle. They're going to head to Calais. They're going to head to Calais so that they can get here, because they know that Britain is still a pretty soft touch.
They've known that for a long time, and nothing that's happened has changed that perception. You say that the Europeans are getting tougher, but the fact is that there are still hundreds of thousands making their way into the EU, really not just from the east, but from all over. They're coming from Asia, they're coming from Africa, they're making their way through the Balkans. They're buying packages, frankly, that get them from Afghanistan to Iran, to Turkey, then go to Greece. The easiest bit at the moment is actually getting across the channel.
Yeah.
And that is simply a fact. And all this nonsense that we heard last week about removals, 16,400 being removed. Yeah, the Prime Minister actually said that there were only 4 volunteers. I'm sorry, Prime Minister, but I don't believe that.
Right.
We know that a lot of those who are going back are the sort of the easy pickings.
Right.
They're the ones who, frankly, are being paid to go back.
Exactly. I mean, the whole point of removing people surely is to remove them, whether they like it or not. You don't ask them if they'd like to be removed; you just remove them, don't you?
Well, there were 606 Brazilians who went home for Christmas.
Right.
Every one of them got £3,000.
Ridiculous.
Including babies. We don't know how many of those that were returned, have been returned so far, have actually gone because they've been given a bit of dosh to be getting on with when they get back.
I know.
So I'm afraid until we get serious about our laws, the legal framework, the Human Rights Act, really, which embeds the ECHR in our law, until we change that I'm afraid there is nothing that's going to prevent us from, there's nothing to prevent the people who are coming across the channel illegally from doing just that. That's going to continue.